Do you feel better? You could put 100 bodies in the ground, Ghost, and not one of them would bring her back. Hey, what's up? What's going on, everybody? You guys have now tuned in to another recap of Power. Woo, woo. Definitely make sure that if you're not yet a subscriber that you go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and make sure you share this video wherever you like to share videos. We do have, sorry, I'm just trying to get my shout outs together. So we do have another segment that I just started, which is called Shade and Juice. So far I only have 2 episodes, but definitely go ahead and catch up on it. It's where I talk about today's latest and greatest in pop culture and entertainment news. Okay, so shout out to Rainy J, who said, just curious where, who, and how Tasha will handle her grief. Good to see you back. Wish I watched the other shows that you review. Laugh out loud. Well, it's okay. Thank you for watching this one. I mean, one is better than none, and I definitely appreciate you. And shout out to Mr. Big D1152. You always make me laugh when I say that name. I remember you. I can't forget it. I think Tommy is way over his head with the Italians. He clearly needs to learn how the mob operates. Also, the black bald guy that was in the room with Sax and Mock is Agent Donovan. Thank you so much for that. I actually looked at that the day that you wrote it, and it started to jog my memory. So I think in my notes, I got his name up in there for today. Great review, by the way. Thank you so much. I totally appreciate that. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So Ghost, he is back from doing his own rendition of the Purge, honey, okay? Remember, he killed off the guy who killed the kid of the people in his church group, which I don't know if, you know, that was a good thing, or, I mean, it was kind of like a good thing. I see the good in it, but you're at a church group. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's good and it's a lot bad. You know, it's probably more bad than it is good, because at the end of the day, you're killing somebody. I mean, yes, this could prevent him from possibly doing the same thing to other people or other people's kids. So it's like you kind of did something right, but it's a tough one. It's a tough place, especially if you was like a cop or a prosecutor. It's like you see the good, but you went against the law to do what you was doing. So how good is it? So the next morning, a detective comes over to see the family, and he said that there was an eyewitness who saw them when they did the press conference the other day, and it's definitely helping that they did the press conference, which they didn't even want to do in the first place. So he says that the person who saw, the eyewitness was saying that they saw, what's his name? They saw Tyreek come out before everything happened. So he was trying to probe and get some more information, but Tasha kind of shut that down because she saw that her son was kind of stumbling a little bit. So they're like, you know, okay, you know, if that's all the questions that you have, let's shut this shit down and get out of our house, you know. And Ghost kind of walked him out. She tried to ask Tyreek if there was anything else, but he claimed that there wasn't. He wasn't outside. But she was still able to kind of detect, like, something ain't right. Like, he looks like he's lying. And he was pretty much lying. I mean, she accepted the answer, but it's like one of those things you accept, but you got that gut feeling that something ain't right. So here goes this woman again, Bianca Rodriguez. And Sergeant Bianca Rodriguez. So she's digging on the case. She's trying to find out more information. She also ends up speaking to that same detective that had went over to Tasha's house. So they're kind of like comparing notes a little bit. And he brings up Angela, and it's like, 1 + 1 is starting to equal 2 now. You know, she seems like she's pretty smart. And she also seems like she has a thing out for Angela, or she just doesn't trust Angela in the situation. So she's definitely prying a little bit more, a little bit farther to try to see what she can find out. So meanwhile, Angela, she's still trying to take down the Jimenez brothers. She talks to her boss, Tamika, about it. But Tamika's kind of like, you're rushing into this way too quickly. We see that you want to kind of, you know, take yourself out and show that you're this amazing prosecutor or whatever, but you're kind of jumping in blind and just, you're doing too much way too quickly. You need to gather up some more information before you do anything else. Kanan lets the fellas know that he's been watching Dre and that his boy, which is Francis, he ain't really down with him like that. Like, they have some kind of beef going on, which he saw. Well, he saw Dre coming at him and he sees that things ain't really good. So that might be his way in to get some more information. They was a little upset that he's kind of doing things on his own, but they're like, all right, do what you gotta do and just make sure you keep us in the loop. He also wants to kind of offer Tommy to help out and be a part of everything because he's like, you know, Jamie's about to leave soon. Like, once he gets everything situated with his daughter and this is all done, he's about to be out. He's like, yeah, I know. And he's like, well, you know, let me get in on this. And he's like, even if you are going to be in on it, which I'm still contemplating, you got to put that money off the top, straight up. So I guess it was just kind of something for them to think about. They didn't really talk about it too much, though. Dre has all the fellas come together, and Diego, he was talking in Espanol to Cristobal because, you know, they got that little Espanol connection. And that's, I think, a thing that Jamie made sure that he did. And I'm pretty sure that if Dre is smart, he'll probably start taking some Espanol lessons, some Spanish lessons. Because luckily, Jamie was able to get that Spanish information and knowledge. Didn't he start with Angela, if I remember correctly? And he just kept it up. But Dre doesn't know any Spanish or a good amount of Spanish. So they could be talking about him, getting over on him right in front of his face, and he wouldn't even really know unless somebody was to snitch back to him. And I feel like maybe that might be motivation for him to start learning Spanish, to kind of be like a young Jamie. That's what I kind of feel like he is, like the young Jamie, you know? They have this Artero or Otoro dude looking like he was the person that killed that other guy from the Spanish team, the one that Francis and the guy with the glasses had killed off. So he's kind of looking at him real sideways, like, how you allowing this dude to take all the credit for something I did, but when I did it, you end up taking me off the payroll, but now it's all good and everybody's clapping and stuff like that. Like, this dude is looking like he's a savior. So of course Francis is feeling some type of way. He's feeling betrayed. He's not feeling good about the situation, and he just feels like dude is playing him out to be a young boy or something, even though they grew up together. I don't know their background, but I think they grew up together. Tate and Jamie, they meet an investor. Her name is Linda. Yo, y'all remember her from the Jamie Foxx show, y'all? So her name is Linda, and she wasn't really interested in the pitch that they were putting out there. She seemed interested when Jamie was kind of talking about it, because he was talking about retail and all this other crap that Tate knew nothing about, and Tate was kind of like slamming it. And you could tell that they both weren't really on the same page. So she's like, this is not really something that I want to invest on. After that, the Tate and Jamie, they had a little bit of a discussion. And Jamie, he's starting to really get irritated by Tate, because I guess because of the whole ambush thing. Like, that was number one. He wasn't really feeling that. And he's like, you know, at the end of the day, this is my daughter and my project, so I'll take care of it. I'm going to handle it. Tommy's father, he gets a visit from Sax and Monk. And, of course, they bring up his wife. You know, they try to set up a deal with him, try to get him out. And then they also bring up Tommy. So I guess he just put in something to try to get out a little bit early. And now that he does that, they're just like, this is what kind of, I guess, reeled them in. So he starts busting out laughing, and they're like, what are you laughing about? What's going on? He's like, I've been doing so much, putting things out there for you guys to see what I've been doing, and it's crazy how my lawyer had to put that out there, whatever it's called, in order to try to get me off for you guys to realize what I was doing. He's like, of course. But this is from the same man who said he wasn't a snitch. I'm like, is it getting to the point where you're so distraught about your wife's situation that you're willing to give up Tommy? Or from what he said, this was the game plan all along. And I'm just like, yo, is he effing with them right now? Or is this like really how this dude is? I'm starting to question everything about him. But you know, even like with Mob Wives, wasn't two of them's daughter, or what's her name? Y'all know who I'm talking about if y'all watch that show. But anyways, one of them, I know that her father was like a notorious snitch. And yeah, like that's something that's like real big in the in the mafia and the mob and all that stuff. Is like, so for him to be like a snitch is crazy. But it's like he's not snitching on his people, he's snitching on his son, who he just got to know. And his son is already showing that he's kind of like wants to do his own thing. He's kind of like off the handle and he can't be tamed. So I don't know if that was more reason that he's just like F it, or I don't know. But this part is like so, it gets me so confused. I'm just like, is he a good guy pretending to be a bad guy, or is he really a bad guy that's a bad guy, you know? Sergeant Bianca Rodriguez, she goes to see Angela Valdez. She starts asking her a whole bunch of questions. She says that she saw that she opened the file that Ray Ray had also opened up. She also says that she told her that she didn't visit Raymond, but yet she did. So things are kind of like not adding up. She's like, oh, it's not that I don't want to give you any information, but something about this is a closed case. Like pretty much trying to bullshit her so she could just be out. And she ends up telling her like, okay, well, I have to get back to work, like without really answering anything. Just tells her like, okay, I have to get back to work, and that's it. She instantly texts Tasha like, yo, we need to meet up ASAP, in like bold letters. At that same moment, or well, I don't know if it was at the same moment. It's probably not, because who has a meeting at night? Tasha was at her support group, and the guy that his son was killed, he tells everybody, like, I think my prayers were answered because my son, the person that killed my son, was brutally stabbed. As soon as the man said that, all of a sudden you see Tasha's face drop, because she knew this dude ain't here. He probably knows that he gonna feel some type of way or something. So she's like, it had to be him. Like, she already had that feeling inside of her that it was probably him. The mother, she's just like, you know what, this doesn't really change anything, because even though he's dead, this is not going to bring my daughter back. There's nothing that's going to bring her back. So yeah, the man who did it is gone, but it's like, okay, and what? She was like, I don't feel good about this. I don't. When Tasha meets with Ghost, she confronted him about it, and she's like, how is it that you can't kill Dre, you can't kill Kanan, but all of a sudden you become a mother effing vigilante over here killing people from church? You know, well, not from church, but you know what I mean. Like, going out here protecting the innocent and doing all these things, so you're becoming a vigilante pretty much. It was just like, it felt good doing it and stuff like that. And she's like, you need to get yourself together. He seems so defensive. You could tell that he's just like, he's not coping very well with everything. It's just becoming so much for him. And I guess because he can't kill the people that are involved, it's like, okay, let me do something to help somebody else. They do meet up and everything, Tasha and Angela. Angela says that she might have an idea, but she's also saying that if all else fails, they may need to bring Jamie in on this. But Tasha, she's like hell-bent on like not involving him on what they're doing. Kanan meets with Francis and tells him that Dre killed some dude that he knew. So now this dude is feeling betrayed. And, you know, they're kind of, he's trying to get on his good graces so that they can work against Homeboy. Because he feels like Cristobal is kind of like taking over. And he's not really feeling all that. Like, he gave him mad information from the inside just by Kanan telling him something that he can relate to, and giving him a little bit of information that he didn't know anything about. Tommy talks to Keisha about her father, about his father, and he tells her that he's not sure what he wants to do or if he should trust him, believe him, and she says that maybe you should forgive him, maybe, but you should also try to find out if it's real, if you're feeling some type of way about what's going on. You know, if you're suspicious, then maybe you should look a little further into it. So it does get his mind going, starts to get him thinking about certain things that he can kind of pursue to try to find out some more information about what's going on with his father. Because he's not really feeling this whole thing. He did try to give her a little kiss after she had let him in and they had this little discussion. But I know that kitty cat was throbbing, y'all. You know, like, when you want that old thing back, but you like, damn, like, I can't let him use me. No, girl, it's 2018. If you want to get the goods. See, the thing about her, the problem with her is that she get dickmatized, y'all. And when that happens, that's when it's like, oh, no, like, ugh. You know, you get your feelings all involved, and that's when you end up getting hurt. So I think that's the problem with her. And you could tell he cares about her, but it was like he was getting in too deep. He was when you're in these types of situations, a lot of times you can't really have family because that's the first people they'll try to dun off. You remember what happened before? I mean, his girl, Holly, she got threatened before, you know, so... Even though he was the one who ended it in the end. And I think that that's part of it too. He knows, like, he's a killer. So he knows that sometimes he does things that he shouldn't. So he's trying to keep her away from his demons. So Kanan, he had like a little encounter with Tasha when Tasha went to go see Tommy. And it wasn't pretty. He was being really derogatory to her. He was being really derogatory to her, and he was just kind of like trying to bring her down and, you know, intimidate her. So she already know, like, Tasha got a mouth on her. She wasn't really with it. She was just like, get the F away from me, or, you know, I would kill you if I have to. She was like, you're going to have to kill me if you try to F with me, so don't even do it. I was like, yes, girl. Let him know you're not scared of him. You're not intimidated, because when they smell fear, that's when they're going to keep on. And it's crazy how you're supposed to be cool with his boy and you manhandling his female like that. Like, that wasn't cool at all. So, yeah, they, at that moment, it's crazy because Tommy was coming in and he seen, like, you know, him talking to her, and she could clearly see she was upset, and she did let her disgust be known before she walked off. So Tommy ran after her, and he's like, yo, this is just for a short period of time. This is only while we're trying to get Dre. She's like, well, it better be, because if not, y'all need to handle it. She was like, the reason why I came here is because Ghost is getting off the handle. He's over here killing people randomly, and you need to watch him. At least she kind of let him know, like, you know, he's not thinking clearly, so be careful right now. Diego, he was making an example out of Arturo because I feel like he thinks that the whole he killed that other Hispanic guy was kind of bullshit. So he's trying to test him. He had him pretty much do, like, execution style to 3 dudes and kind of show, like, okay, yeah, I do kill people, even though he wasn't the one who did it initially. And Francis, once again, he wasn't really feeling that because he's just like, this dude is taking all the credit for something that I did. He took us off the payroll, and this dude is getting glorified. What's going on with that? So he's just like kind of seeing the disrespect. Arturo, the Arturo dude, he did what he had to do. But when Diego was talking to Dre, he was on some, oh, how is it that you make my sister's pussy wet, but you don't make my dick hard? I'm like, wait, what? What's going on here? What is happening? And Dre was just like, I'm not even looking at your sister like that. It's just strictly business. He was like, it better be. He was like, you better keep your eyes to yourself. And I'm just like, well, okay. Okay, I see you. Angela, she gets knocked into by some dude. He's supposed to be, I don't even know. He's some law guy. I don't know what he does. I heard him say he was some high kind of person that shadows people or something. He said he's in town for like a little while and he wanted to take her out to dinner. And I'm like, first of all, he knocked your stuff down. He looked at your file, read your name, and now miraculously he wants to go to dinner with you. And you say yes? Like, is it a coincidence, or is he like looking into her, is what I'm wondering, you know? But they do end up going to dinner, and then he wanted to like do her or whatever, because he's like, oh, let's go up to my hotel room, but she wasn't with it at that particular time. She was like, nah, but he was like, I'm only here for one more night, so just give you the heads up. So I was like, okay, Angela, you trying to get your groove back. You missing that deep. Proctor, he talks to Tommy about his father. They actually like met up. Proctor tells him like he got to stay away from him because he's trying to get his bar or whatever restrictions taken off so that he can start practicing law again. And he tells him he doesn't really see anything looking suspicious or fishy on his father's case. But he's like, yo, like, for real, though, if you need me, just don't call me right now, because I really need to stay clear of you and keep myself clean for the next few days, or not even next few days, but as long as it takes till I get my stuff back together. He's like, oh, there's other ways you can make money. He's like, legitimate ways? He's like, no, but I didn't say all that, but... Cristobal gets in his car, and Kanan kind of ambushes him. He has a mask on, puts up his gun and everything, and they rob him pretty much. They rob him and they pistol whip him to kind of show him who's boss. And yeah, so they pretty much took a hit for Cristobal's team, Dre's team. And I'm pretty sure it was Francis and them, because, you know, he had already got pretty cool with Francis. While he was like having a pistol up to him, they went in the back of the car and took out the money. Jamie, he gets another shot at Linda. They have like a little meeting in a restaurant, a nice little restaurant that has a hotel upstairs. And they're talking more of, he's proposing his idea to her. She seems intrigued. She literally goes ahead and removes her ring and said, well, you know what, perhaps we should take this upstairs. And he smiles, he agrees. She's like, oh, and don't forget the wine. So he brings it upstairs, and honey child, this was a whole nother side of Miss Gracielle, whatever her name is, honey. I mean, we seen her little booty and stuff, and she was like, all like legs all open. I was like, yo, this shit is hot. I feel like I'm watching some official porn right here. So Keisha and Tasha, they meet up, and she tells Keisha that she feels like Tyreek is still holding stuff back from her. Keisha tells her that, and she kept it 100 with her. She was just like, well, you know, if you've been keeping stuff from your kids and lying to them all their lives, then what do you expect? And I was like, oh, shit. But she caught herself real quick. You know how you, like, say something and you're like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have said it. Like, my delivery was poor just now. Maybe I should have rephrased that a little bit. And I feel like that happened to me the other day. Like, I was talking to somebody about something, and I feel like my delivery was just, like, a no bullshit kind of way. But I feel like sometimes people do need that. Like, sometimes things don't need to be sugar-coated. Like, yeah, not all the time you need to be this raw, unfiltered, capital B. But sometimes, I mean, it's necessary for people to kind of open up their eyes and see what they're doing wrong, or for you to understand the severity of the situation. So I feel like that's kind of what she did. And surprisingly, Tasha, she accepted it really well. And she was just like, yeah, you know, you don't even have to apologize because you're actually right. And Keisha was just like, you know, what I'm really saying is that in order for things to be different, you got to also change yourself. And you got to want things to change. And Tommy tells his mother comes to visit him because she needed to re-up on some coke, a coke supply. And Tommy's mother tells him, well, he tells her that his father's coming out. And she's like, oh, okay, well, what does he want from you? And he's like, nothing. And she's like, nah, everything with him comes with a price. You'll see. She's like, he's the devil. He's evil. And, you know, I think that kind of opened up Tommy to thinking, like, maybe, just maybe I'm right. I mean, he didn't tell her that, but I think that was what he was kind of thinking in the back of his head. Dre made an announcement that Cristobal is now going to be his number 2. And I'm like, people just stole from him, and you want this dude to be your number 2? Like, obviously, he's not doing too well. So now they got to report to him, since they just took a hit, a real big hit. They got to now report to him. One dude, he wasn't really feeling that. He was like some older dude. He was just like, so how old are you? And I'm just like, dude, why you asking him how old he is? Like, you're just straight disrespecting him because you probably just don't like him. Because at the end of the day, Dre looks like he's younger than Cristobal, and you report to him, and he talks to you any type of way and gives you orders. So what's really up? You know, it's just because this dude is not as ruthless or hasn't shown to be as ruthless and he just got robbed. I mean, I guess that's where there's no, they're like, dude, you ain't hard. Like, why we gotta report to you? Like, you ain't the vice principal or something. Yo, that shit was funny though. Now, Angela, she got Donovan to go with the warrant, I guess, to seize all the documents that this Bianca chick had, you know, using the law against somebody in law enforcement. And of course she was just like, oh, yeah, from Angela, right? She's like, she's just using you guys. She's involved in this. And that's the reason. He was like, do you have proof? She was like, no. So he was like, hand over all your documents. I was like, damn, okay, Angela, you gotta show her who's ranking, who's the higher, who's the HBIC. You better let her know. Right now, she's hell-bent on taking down the Jimenez brothers. Now she just actually realized that the Jimenez brothers is actually the Jimenez brother and sister. You know? So now she's like, that's her thing. Like, she's focused. Jamie goes to Tate and lets him know that the deal is good. It's about to go through. He got everything settled. He was like, okay, so you talked to her, you did a little bit of flirting, you laid that D on her. He was like, you know, like, wait, how does he know that? He was like, you already proved her point for concern by doing something like that. He was like, so she played me. He was like, yeah, pretty much. She sure did. So damn, like, I'm like, is she even going, so she's not going to put the money up, but she had sex with him, and now she knows that he's not really married. Like, now she knows, like, well, he's married, but, I mean, she's just as bad as him because she had a ring on too. But he was like, you know, you got to work on your professionalism, and he was like, letting him know, like, I'm not your pimp. He was like, yeah, you're not my pimp, but yet you pimped me and my wife out, and you trying to pimp my daughter out for your own personal gain. And he was like, he'll make sure that he has the money so that he can do what he has to do. And I was like, damn, Ghost, your head not in the game right now. But that sex scene was hot, though. And I know he just needed it because he's been trying to call Angela. He obviously doesn't look like he's getting nothing from Tasha. So, I mean, sometimes guys need that to kind of clear their heads. I mean, anybody could need that to kind of, that's definitely a stress reliever, y'all, especially if it's good. But I don't know how good it was because he was still over there trying to call Angela that same, I think it was like either that same night, yeah, like, or maybe the next day, I don't know. But the way they made it looked like it could have been that same night. But meanwhile, she there with somebody else. She was like ignoring his calls. She was with that same guy that I told you about earlier. She ends up like, first she was like looking at her phone a lot. He took the phone, he put it in the drawer. That's when Jamie called, but then she just went ahead and kind of like was like, you know what, where were we at? So I'm like, girl, you better go ahead and get your groove back, Angela. Even though I don't really co-sign this because you don't know this guy, and this is somebody that is in the same field as you. He was in the office. Like, y'all might end up working together. I don't know. It's just awkward. Like, you're doing too much. Like, how about you go on Tinder or do something else? But getting people that's inside your office, I just felt like that was like stupid. But we'll see how that plays out. I feel like just like how Jamie got played, she could be getting played. But, I mean, I could be wrong. I guess we'll see, like I said. Tyreek, he's now being dropped off at his away school. And Tasha takes this moment before she drops him off to talk to him and let him know how she really feels, why they did the things that they did, why they lied to them for so many years, and what the goal was in order to kind of shelter them from that life, but yet give them a better life. It's like shelter them from the truth of where everything was coming from, which was the drug money. You know, let him know your father was always a businessman first, but also let him know, you know, we didn't want you guys to be a part of that. We didn't want you guys to see the struggle, so that's why we did it this way, to kind of keep you guys covered up and shielded. But it still came back to you guys, and she apologized for that. I think she apologized. But, I mean, that was pretty much an apology in itself. And he ends up first I'm like, I don't know, because he be like looking like he's receptive to stuff and like, you know, everything's all good, but then he be switching up on the game. So I wasn't too sure about him, but he ends up like actually saying that he actually was there that night. He watched everything happen. Like he told her the whole entire story, and it was kind of like, I felt like it was a breakthrough in their relationship because now he was being fully honest. He didn't have to hold that burden on himself. And he's like, I miss her so much. And they started breaking down right there in the car. Another car scene that we saw, or the final car scene that we saw, is that Tommy, he goes to see his father, Teresi, because Teresi's getting out. I don't remember his first name out. Teresi. So yeah, his father's getting out, and he takes him in his car, and their next journey awaits them. They're about to get into trouble after he goes to see Connie. But I'm just like, yo, this is gonna hit the fan. Like, I just need to know. Like, I need to know if he's a good guy pretending to be bad so that he can get what he needs, or is he really like an effed up individual that's really effing his own son over, like on some Kanan shit, you know? And Kanan was when he told Kanan about it, a little bit about it, Kanan was all like, you know, that's pretty cool that you have a dad, because I ain't never had no dad. He's like, maybe you should go to a baseball game with him. And I'm like, yo, like, you should tell him to watch himself, because you're the kind of dad that fucking killed your own kid. So you know how ruthless a father can be. So I don't know, you guys. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next one, guys. Thanks for watching, sharing, liking, commenting, all that good stuff. I will see you guys on the next one. Deuces.